do actually have a really funny story that I want to lead this podcast off with. That
Go for it, man.
is really outside the realm of what is normal in somebody's life, and I didn't want to share it before we started recording because I didn't want to have you have any insight to it. So
Okay.
I woke up this morning. I'm downstairs. I'm working in my office. I'm all like ready for work and everything, and I hear this like truck out front, right? And it's a pretty
Okay.
sizable truck, and they're clearly doing something in the neighborhood. I look outside. It's like a red city truck where I'm at. All the trucks are red from the city. And I start hearing a gurgling noise in the bathroom that's next to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I look outside and they've got some kind of machine with like a hose going down, like a huge hose going down into the sewers right across from where I live. And I'm like, oh no, like, what are they doing? And anyway, so a little while later, I really hear the gurgling starts picking up. And so I lift open the toilet seat and like the water is bubbling in my toilet.
What?
Right? Yes, I know. It's wild. So then all of a sudden it goes crazy and it's literally like a fountain in my toilet, Tyler.
No
And like my
way.
whole, so it's like bubbling off over and it's water's getting all over. I swear the water was probably like 2 feet off the like base where the water is in the toilet bowl. Never experienced anything like that before. So I promptly called the city and I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? Apparently
No
they
kidding.
do this every 5 years. And I guess there's supposed to be something inside your home that is supposed to stop that from happening.
Okay.
But I guess every once in a while they can have problems with it. And apparently whoever plumbed my house didn't do something right. Anyway, so needless to say, I had to get a bunch of towels, and thankfully my toilet was clean, and so I had to like mop up all this water and stuff.
That
But then the problem is once
sucks.
you do that, you get like once the water's gone, and it like because there's like what's called an S trap, where the water keeps the sewer gas smells from coming back up.
Oh yeah.
All like we had a sink, the toilet basin that's
Mm-hmm.
near where our washer and dryer are, and all of that had the water get drained out of it. So it smelled like sewer gas in our house this morning. It was really bad.
Dude,
So I
that
reran the water,
sucks.
free filled the S trap, and it was fine. But
Dude, that
welcome
sucks.
to the Acceptable Toilet Bowl podcast.
The irony is my dad advice or my life advice at the end is actually related to something plumbing.
That's
So
funny. Well, you are welcome for setting that up. And for those of you who had to listen for us for 4 minutes talk about life, well, I hope you enjoyed it.
exactly. If not,
What is
hey, for
what?
the Brent,
Yeah,
I appreciate you for still listening. Giving a
that's
shout
right.
out, bro.
Yeah. So what's our topic today, Tyler?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Terrible.
Our topic is actually it's funny because I was thinking about the name of this topic, and you actually have it listed as the second annual men's shooting event. And at first, like in my brain, I'm like, okay, well, this is men going out shooting. But I reread it. I'm like, are we shooting men?
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
so then I was like, no, it's a church shooting event, and I'm like, that's even worse.
Oh my
So I'm
goodness.
like, no, this was a men's group firearms competition event.
Correct. It
That is a
is. So
mouthful, but that's probably how it's going to get labeled.
exactly, but this way we don't get canceled, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly, because unfortunately we live in a world where sin happens, and these
It
kinds of events
does.
do happen
But
at
hey,
church, and very serious and very scary.
cancel culture I feel like is getting better recently. So
It's
we'll
true.
see.
I'm gonna
But
buy some American Eagle jeans. Anyway,
yeah, no kidding. So did you see that she was just at Taryn Butler's range shooting?
I did. She's pretty good. She's got a
I
better grip. She's got a little bit of a muzzle flip going on, but
I know, but I think she's like
yeah,
a Southern girl, isn't she? Like originally, like I remember this was a
yeah.
while ago. She actually posted something. I think her family had like MAGA stuff up. But either way, I don't really care. But all that to say, of course, just like Phil was talking about today, we are going to be talking about our men's firearms competition that we hosted. This was our second time hosting it. We learned a lot the first time. What's interesting with this is Phil and I, we lead the men's ministry at our church, and we have one of our deacons. He has like, I don't know, 10 plus acres in like middle of nowhere in the outskirts of Grand Rapids, and he literally has trees and like little valleys, so this way everyone's safe. And what we did last year is we literally had teams of 4 men, and everything's in par times. And there will be 4 shooting stages, and there are 8 puzzle stages. All the shooting is done stationary just because We know that there's going to be men who are not as avid shooters, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe I only shoot once or twice a year. So this way we didn't want to add too much movement like a type of like a USPSA, but at least kind of focusing more on like the fundamentals, the basics, focusing more on like target transitions and just stuff like that. So this year is very similar. We had four different shooting stages, four different firearms, and the way that competitors would have to do is they would have to have their teams this way. People they would run it through twice. So this way there would be two people shooting each firearm. So this way everyone could have a chance to try out something different, or maybe something that they're comfortable with. And then they will literally go from firearm stage to puzzle stage, back to firearm, and vice versa. They do that until the very end. And I believe the average time for a team to complete it this year was about probably 10 to 11 minutes.
That sounds about right.
Hmm.
It's interesting with an event like this where you and I and our group of friends that shoot, we all shoot on the regular basis, and you get used to shooting in a competition and the everything that's required with it, right?
Yep.
So like you're talking about with their we shoot USPSA, there's a lot of movement with a loaded firearm from end to end on the stage. You're moving and shooting at targets that are like moving potentially, whether it's Texas Star or even at a range, we've got like a slider target. These are things that we're used to doing, but
Hmm.
not everyone is used to doing this. So when we proposed the idea and the concept of doing a competition shooting event for the men's group at church, we really had to rethink the way that we were going to do a competition like this.
Oh my
Because again,
goodness,
not
yeah.
everyone is the same skill level that we are and when it comes to firearms. And then the other thing you have to consider too is that not everyone understands, even though you cover the safety rules at the beginning of the match, which we did extensively.
100. We literally spent
Yep.
probably a good, what, 30 to 45 minutes just going
Oh,
over a
100%.
safety briefing, what's going to happen, the different stages, how to actually use the firearms. So easily 30 to
Yep.
45 minutes.
But we did things like when shooting, we have an RO that will hand the person the firearm, and then they'll engage, they'll shoot at the target, right? And we'll get into this a little bit and how we kind of handle that for each firearm. But the idea is that you are always in your as much as possible, the RO is in control of the firearm so that there's not like an accidental discharge, especially when people aren't used to firing on the clock. And then the
Hmm.
other thing we did too is we were always very, very specific about what the individual has to do, whether it was the shooting stages or the puzzle stages themselves, as we'll call them, because we didn't want any confusion, or any potential accidents to happen. So the challenges you run into, again, kind of starting off with this, is you're looking at trying to make a competition that's fun and interesting while also really limiting down the type of shooting that you and I, Tyler, would find fun for shooting.
Hmm.
And that is a challenge, I will
Oh
say,
my goodness, yeah.
because if you just have people stand and deliver, like if that's it, yeah, that's fun. But I think adding the other parts of the competition make it interesting and bring people back
Yes.
each year.
Because at the same time too, for it's also for us to understand the average person who goes shooting that actually like goes shooting other than hunting or like all of that, they're literally just going to an and there's nothing wrong with it. It's they go to an indoor range and they'll shoot off 50 to 100 maybe a couple times a year, if that.
Right.
And of course, with most indoor ranges, you're stationary and the target is moving. You're not even moving. So all you're doing is point shooting. It's very simple, very basic. I remember even when I was starting out, like you can't ranges don't even let you rapid fire. You can maybe get away with reloading. You definitely cannot draw from your holster.
Right.
So just rules like that, that's just what most people are accustomed to. So that's why for like an event like what we did, for most of them it's new and really they only do it once a year, which is at this specific event. Unless they actually go shooting with one of us. Or if you're on the safety team at our church, then you'll do the qualifiers, the qualifiers. USPSA is classifiers, the safety team
Yep.
is qualifiers. The qualifier to make sure because that one involves drawing from your holster, doing transitions. shooting maybe at different positions, but even then, you're not even running around with the qualifier.
No, at the most you're like kneeling, and then even you're not
Correct.
even kneeling on the clock. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The other thing I'll add too is most people that will be there, while not everyone has shot all the firearms, like your type of firearms, pistol, shotgun, rifle, there's a chance they may have. So we're also trying to add something into the match that would give them a reason to show up. That's going to add something different they've never done before. So
Hmm.
there's a lot that Tyler and I put into the concepts behind this. Again, it's trying to keep things safe, trying to
Yes.
keep
Oh,
things
100%.
interesting, trying to keep things logistically moving, and then trying to assess people and trying to avoid the gamification as well. Though I will tell you, people gamed it, and we knew they were, and if they did, it was within a controlled like frame of the actual section of that course of fire. And people definitely gamed it, and that's okay because we knew they were going to, and that's it's it's fine. And I
As
think
long as it's safe, I don't
as
care.
long as it's safe, exactly.
Because spoiler alert, the team that got second place was probably the most inaccurate. They're
Yeah,
safe, most inaccurate, but they were just so stinking fast. They got second place.
right,
It was just insane to me because the way that the scores were is once again everything's part time, so it's the whole thing, doing all 8 puzzles and doing all 4 shooting stages twice, all in one timer. And then for if you were to get A zone hits, you get a -3 seconds. So the lowest time wins. So you get an A zone shot, that's -3 seconds per A, 2 second. I think 2 seconds. No, I'm sorry. It's -2 per A, -1 per Charlie. You don't get any. You just get 0 seconds for deltas, and then any mics you get +2, 2 or 3. I can't remember, and it was basically along those lines. So mics actually mattered as well. So your accuracy mattered, but this team, like I said, they literally completed the thing in like 8 minutes, and everyone else was probably an average of like 10 to 12, except for the team that won. I think they got like just short of 9 minutes, but then they were just so accurate that they were fine.
right. And that was what we tell people too when they would complete, just because they got a time that may have been higher than the team that like went before them, doesn't necessarily put them out of contention because again, we build it into there where you have to have the whole concept of speed but accuracy along with it.
Correct. Yes. So maybe next year, maybe we can include, maybe make the scores a little more like maybe an alpha could be 3 seconds instead of 2. So I don't know, but
Yeah,
either
no, I
way.
was actually thinking about that as well too. I think that maybe
Hmm.
put more focus on accuracy next year.
Hmm. So, but either way, so I guess Phil, would you like to? Actually, I can go. I can go into. I can talk about the different shooting stages if you want me to. You go with that?
Yeah, do you want to go like back and forth between like shooting stages and then like the different
Yeah,
puzzle stages that we had? If you want to cover shooting, and then I'll do the puzzle side.
let's do it. Yeah, of course. If that's the case, why don't you go first? Only because there are more puzzle stages than shooting stages.
Oh, that's actually a good point because we did double up on some stuff. So,
Hmm.
okay, so what we ended up having the individuals. So I'll start with two of them. Then
Yeah.
I'll kind of cover them. So we have what we call puzzle stages, and I call them puzzle stages because last year they were a little bit more puzzle, but this year we decided to emphasize a little bit more fun into like the quote unquote puzzle side. While there were puzzles this year, we also did things like we had a knife throwing stage.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
yeah. No, I'm gonna start right into it, Tyler.
If
So
you can't tell,
my
this is a sore spot for me. But Phil,
yes,
go and talk about the throwing knife
like
target or
yep.
stand
Well,
stage,
I
whatever.
will. Yeah, I'll start with the stage. So my son, and I love. I am a gift giver. I love giving gifts. I love coming up with like fun and like cool ideas for people to give for gifts. So when somebody comes up with a gift item that I completely did not expect or that was kind of like fun, I'm like, I will definitely use this someday. I always enjoy it. Anyway,
Have you
for
used my
Chris,
drill yet, or the drill
I
that you
oh
gave
yeah,
you?
all the time.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
Yep. My Maria and I both use it. So anyway, for the knife throwing stage, my son gave me a set of throwing knives for Christmas this year, and I was like, man, that's kind of a fun gift because at our sportsman's club, we actually have an axe throwing board that you could throw knives into as well, I suppose. And So a set of three of them, and I was sitting on those. They're in my safe, and I'm like, I got to find a
Mm-hmm.
way to use these this year. So I was like, oh, let's do a knife throwing stage. And three knives. If you land the knife, you got time off. Again, it's like golf, so lower score. You got
Yep.
time off your score, right? And then the problem is you have to have something to throw the knife into. You can't necessarily just throw the knife into like plywood because
Mm-hmm.
the consistency of the board itself is not great because of the way that the everything's chopped up. So typically people will use like 2x4s, or
Mm-hmm.
in the case of what Tyler did, was a very cool idea, even though it took you a while. Why don't you
Bro.
tell us about the knife
Oh
throwing?
my goodness. So of course when because Phil, I mean, he you asked me to if I could make a throwing knife target probably a good month, maybe 3 weeks. 3 weeks before the event. I said sure, I can do that, not a big deal. And of course I procrastinated. And then the week of came, it's like, hey, how's that throwing knife stand coming? Like, I'll get back to you. And I got to a point where I almost just bought a target because I'm like, this is gonna take me forever. And then I was looking it up and I was like, well, some of these targets are literally just looks like 2x4s put together. And I was kind of like doing the math. I'm like, well, it might just not be worth me building it. However, I even looked at some websites of DIYs, I'm like, these don't even look good. Like, once again, you're just throwing a knife at these 2x4s or plywood. The problem is it actually doesn't stick well. And I came to the conclusion that I want to throw into the end grain of a piece of wood because that's where you have a better chance of sticking a throwing knife more consistently. Because once again, these are guys who aren't going to be thrown, who most likely aren't professional throwing knife throwers, you know. So I was thinking about, oh, maybe I could just buy like some 2x4s or even 4x4s and literally just chop them up into blocks and just put it into this frame. But I was like, that's gonna be a lot of work. I have a bunch of stumps, a bunch of logs in my backyard because I had a couple of trees that I had chopped down years ago, and I literally have, I don't know, what is it, probably 16 to 24 inches wide. So I'm like, no, it's probably 24. Yeah, it's probably about 2 feet wide. So I was like, you know what? I have this massive log, this stump that's on the ground, and I have a chainsaw ish. It's a tiny little, like, 12-inch DeWalt chainsaw or whatever.
So
And,
chainsaw light.
bro, it's like a toy, man.
It's like
And,
it's like when you're a little kid and you get like the set of tools. You get the little plastic screwdriver, and you get like
bro, it,
the little plastic chainsaw that like makes cute little noises when you rev it up.
it took me an hour and a half to get to chop off like what, I don't know, a 6 inch thick piece of log off of this because I had to go through six different batteries. I guess three batteries recharge three batteries. And I went through six batteries cutting through this stinking log, man. It took forever. And my arms are hurt. My hands, I think, are getting calloused because of it. And I'm like, after that, I came to the conclusion I either need to invest in a new chainsaw or next time I'm just going to go run to the store and just rent one because it was not worth my time.
I
Because
wonder if you
I
could.
know with the real chainsaw, I should have gotten that done in literally a minute because
Oh,
I've
100
seen it
percent.
happen.
Yeah, I
There's the
almost.
guy who chopped down this tree. I saw
Yeah,
him do it. Literally,
yeah.
done. I'm like, what the heck? An hour and
What
a half, dude, to
I want.
chop it.
I wonder if you could have brought it to like Home Depot and had them cut it for you.
I don't think they do that,
No, not
unfortunately.
not. Yeah, that
No.
makes sense. You know, like catch like a nail in there or something. So that
Yeah, I
makes
know,
sense.
right? But either way, like it was so insane. I got to a point where I'm like, I should just ask my neighbor. I know my neighbor's chainsaw. But nope, I was being prideful. I should have done it. But whatever, I got it done. And then finally afterwards I ran to Home Depot and I because I saw some guys made a DIY throwing knives target. Literally, it's just three 2x4s and he made like a tripod out of it, and then I just slapped that piece of log on top of it. It like
It,
if it
it,
didn't take me an hour and a half to chop that piece of wood, it probably would have taken me like 30 minutes in total to put everything
yeah,
together.
the stand you made was really nice. It looks like a man's easel, Like
It kind of
if a
does.
man were to be painting like out in the woods, like with like a flannel on and like jeans with, like a dog or a bear next to them,
That is a great way to put it.
that would
It
be what
really
it looks
does.
like. So, because it's got to support this log, but it worked really well. I will say we not I think maybe only like one or two teams got points off of landing the knives. And man, we when we set this up, there's only so much time, so you're trying to figure out like what is the adequate distance to put these at. But
Hmm.
honestly, it's significantly harder to throw knives and get to stick to wood than it is to throw axes. I don't know if it's
Oh
just
yeah.
because of like the rotational additional weight of the axe head, and maybe your mind can translate better the rotational pattern to get it to stick. I don't know.
Hmm.
Either
Well, I
way,
mean,
so that
I
was
feel like with the hatchet, it's just easier to spin a hatchet than a knife.
probably.
I could
So
be
that was
wrong, but that's what it feels like.
yeah, that was one of our challenges, and they had to stick the knife to get points, and you got time off. You had to throw the knives though; that was a requirement. So then for the next item that we had was the lawn dart. Like okay, so my son for Christmas. So apparently we're using our Christmas gifts in July or August, I guess.
Christmas in July,
Um,
bro.
my son got these lawn darts from my folks, and my parents will never listen to this, so I'm gonna make fun of them a little bit.
That's awesome.
So my son got these like lawn darts
Isn't your
from.
son a teenager?
He is, yes. So again, context here, right? Like, and they light up so you could play with them at night or whatever. But they're from like, it almost looks like when you're on an airplane and you pull out that like catalog from behind the seat in front of you and you like rifle
That's
through the catalog and
amazing.
you're like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna it's like air, it's like the air, I forget what it's called anyway, Air Magazine or something. You like buy it from that, and so it looks like they got it from there. And my parents ask me on the regular basis, "Has Ryan used his lawn darts yet?"
That's so funny.
And I don't know what to say because no, like this is not a thing that a teenage boy goes out and like throws lawn darts. And they're not like fun lawn darts like from the 70s where they have like a spike in them. No, they're like a heavy end. You kind of try to land them. Anyway, so I use those because now when my parents ask, I will be like, yeah, we used them at a church event. They'll be so proud, Tyler.
That's awesome. You're
I think
welcome.
I think again, one person landed the lawn dart in the ring is because they were pretty hard to land in, and the property that we were on, the section was like really kind of uneven ground. So even if you hit inside the ring, it just bounced out. And this is
That's
actually
so
this
funny.
is one of the things that people realized later on. I think going first is not an advantage. The
No,
later
it
teams
never is.
realized that nobody was getting them in, and they were throwing them by like one at a time.
Hmm.
So later, the youth pastor from our church actually threw all three at the same time
I
just to get them
remember
done and
that.
move on. And I'm like, that's brilliant.
He straight up gamed it. It's great because
He
he's not
did.
a USPSA shooter, but he
He's a
is
gamer.
he's definitely a gamer and he's a very good shooter. Like
Yep.
I remember the first like we had him do the qualifier a while ago too, and he got one of the top scorers like on his first try. I think he got like a 225 out of 230 on his first go, which is
Yeah.
extremely impressive.
It is really good. I
Mhm.
think Tyler, this is an example again of next year if we do this, and if I use lawn darts or whatever this is, I'm going to use it to remove a significant amount of time off of somebody's
I agree.
score.
I
Just because that
100%
way,
agree.
then it's not just something that you're bypassing to get to the next step.
I agree.
Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, with those two challenges out of the way, Tyler, do you want to walk through our first shooting challenge?
Yeah, of course. So the first shooting challenge for the event actually was the AR stage. I had to think for a second because I'll be honest, I don't even remember. So it was the AR stage, and
What
what's
does
cool is
AR?
one
What does AR stand for? Assault rifle.
assault rifle. Yep, assault
Okay.
rifle 15. It's a 15 model of the assault rifles here in the United States of America,
It's
and
15, 15 more dangerous than the
yep,
first one.
and even if that were true, I don't care because we are Americans and that is our rights. So get over it,
Yeah.
rest of the world. But either way, so did you see that Justin Bieber just posted that he was shooting an AR-15?
I'm telling you, man. Like you said earlier, it's people are coming out of the woods now.
It
Like
is.
it's okay to be like a man or a woman now. It's fine.
I know.
You don't have to be androgynous. If you want to, that's fine
Exactly.
too. But if you also want to be a dude and do dude stuff like we did with this event, that's okay
Hmm.
too.
Agreed. But either way, so AR-15. So once again, with this stage, the idea was we wanted to create an environment, create stages where, first of all, everyone's safe. Everybody is safe. So what we actually did was, once again, only one person shooting at a time, and everyone's going to be safe. And we have ROs, but all the firing line was actually all essentially the same line, which was really nice, or pretty darn close to it. So this way, there was very little confusion of where you're shooting from, and everybody's safe. So we actually set up a VTech barricade, which which we didn't have people actually shoot. For those who know what it is, it's basically just this massive barricade that's, I don't know what, like 6 feet tall by, I don't know, 3, 4 feet wide, and there's like
Yeah.
stairs at the top that kind of go, they kind of notch down. Then on the inside are different positions, like different holes you can stick the barrel through to shoot. So with these, once again, we didn't want anyone to shoot the barricade by accident or to hurt themselves, so they just shot on the stairs. And there was a target, I don't know, not far, maybe like 25 yards down, and what they had to do was they had to shoot from three different parts of the stairs. So, like the second from the highest, the middle, and the bottom. So this way, they're shooting at three different positions and shooting an AR. Unfortunately, there was an LPVO on it, and it was owned by a very tall man with very long arms. So we actually helped.
For the record, I put the stock in a little bit before I left it, and then I went to go pick it up to shoot it later, and somebody had pulled it back out.
I
I
think
was like,
I
"Hey,
I think it was one of our ROs. But either way, it's funny
could be."
because there was one other guy who actually has very similar, like, geometry to you.
Yeah,
So, like, he's literally like your height, similar face shape and everything. He had no issues at all. He put it in and
no,
just shot, no issues. So it's just funny to me how for him was fine, but everyone else, if you haven't shot the LPVO, they had so many issues. Even one of our ROs had issues with it because he's the
4 foot 11.
yeah, the little Mexican flag. Love that man. I know.
Wow, you're gonna get canceled.
I don't even care. Not in this culture. Last year I probably would. I'm a minority, guys. But um, but either terrible. But either way, so we had the AR stage, and that was really bad. They'll run up. We had one of our ROs. He would, once again, like we said, would give the person the gun, give them, and then he'll put the mag in. All they had to do is drop the round in, and that was all they did. They went in, they shot, and then they just ran back. Literally, just two shots each in each stage. Every single firearm, save the shotgun, you're shooting 6 rounds each. So that's the AR stage.
Yeah, and did you say how far the target was away?
It was probably about 25 yards.
That was more than that for the rifle.
Really?
Yeah, it was about 50.
Was it? I have no idea. Clearly, I have terrible sense of distance.
It's okay. And that rifle was zeroed at 50. So if you could get the reticle, get it lined up, then you would have no problem um, nailing your target. But it was funny because there were people that were less, that were height challenged that had a really hard time, like tippy toes to get to the top step. It was very cute to watch them. It was like a little child on Christmas Day, like trying to look over, like they're, whatever. Anyway. Okay.
Hey, that's why some people, I start calling them step stools. Great.
So then they do a challenge, they run back, do the shooting challenge, come back to the puzzles again.
Correct.
And what I didn't say earlier is that these initial few challenges, the first 4 challenges that we had on the puzzle side, quote unquote puzzle side, were individual challenges. So again, with the throwing knives, the dart challenge, and then so we had additional challenges were something that was called a can cannon. And it was funny because somebody's like, "Stop stuttering," and I'm like, "No, it's literally called a can cannon." And what it
That's so funny.
is like made popular, probably around 2010 time frame or so, where you could take a soda pop can, and you put it into this specialized upper receiver. It's basically an AR-15 upper receiver with a barrel that was cut really low so that there is actually really the round will chamber in, but there's no like barrel beyond it. And then there's like a tube where the can is. So then you fire it's AR-15. So you fire a 223 blank. So there's no bullet in the end of the round. And then so normally when you would fire a 223 round or any rifle round or any firearm round, the bullet would then shoot out the end of the barrel, right? In this case, the barrel, if you want to call it that, is really just a tube that is where the can or tennis ball goes. So we had never shot this before, and it was one of the ROs that had it, and you can't just go shoot a cannon anywhere because it's a firearm, number one.
Hmm.
And then number two, like
That's
even if you
loud.
could, it is loud. So even if you could take it to a range, most ranges are going to tell you, well, definitely not indoor, but
No,
outdoor
definitely not.
ranges are going to be upset anyway because you're going to leave aluminum behind. And even if you clean it up, it's fine, whatever. But most are probably like, no, you can't do it because it's going to make a mess. So we had the opportunity to shoot it. And what we would have them do is we'd hand the individual the cannon preloaded with the can in it, and then charge it and hand it to them. And we had a steel target that was probably what distance? I don't know why I'm asking you.
I was gonna say, I don't know, bro. Almost 50.
It was near 50, maybe a little bit closer in to try to hit this man's or AC zone steel target. It was a lot harder than I think anybody
I
expected.
think
I think
only one person nicked it. They didn't even hit it. They nicked it.
yes. And then afterward, we had a few extra cans left over, and eventually somebody hit the lower part of it. But
Oh, that's
again, you're
right.
you're you're
Hmm.
dealing with like a smooth bore, like with a can, and the cans are not like if you think of like a Sammy specs on a rifle round, everything's very specific, right? It has to be like a certain size, otherwise you have problems. Well, a can, if you have even if it gets smushed a little bit, which we had a few, it gets like a little bit tighter while you put it in the tube, so then you get more pressure built up, so the arc is different because you're arcing
Hmm.
this thing over, you're not shooting it straight at the target.
Yes.
Anyway, but it is awesome though, and everybody wants to shoot it because it's a
Yeah.
stinking
Especially when he put,
cannon.
especially when he put a can in it.
Yeah, yeah, right. If you don't forget, like somebody did in this podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That was
we
you,
won't
right?
definitely. It was not me. Anyway, so then you fire this thing, try to shoot the target, but I will say, even if people missed it, if you hit like a tree branch or like the ground, the can would just explode, and it was a ton of fun. So we shot LaCroix, which is LaCroix, please sponsor us, which is
Yeah.
hilarious because we didn't leave like syrupy like liquid all over his property and attract ants and wasps and whatever. So we had the brilliant idea to use something that didn't have sugar in it, which is why we chose
Yep.
LaCroix from Sam's Club.
It was because I will admit, because with the event itself being so busy that week was, I literally had everything delivered to my house from Sam's Club. It was so nice because I had to order like all the food and all the
It is
drinks.
nice.
Yeah, it was so nice. They literally delivered it at like 10 a.m. Came right, they delivered, and I just brought it inside and it was good to go. And I got to use my new deep freezer that was given to me by my girlfriend's parents. So yeah, it's awesome.
I wonder what it would be like to shoot a frozen can.
That would I would be intrigued. Well, the
It's not
question
going to
is,
explode as cool.
it's not even explode. Just want to make sure that the
Would it
can
fit?
doesn't explode because
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
Even, you're right. I don't even think it would fit because it would
It
expand too
expand.
much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so then as you can probably guess, that was the most popular item on the puzzle side. And the throwing knives are pretty close too, but if you given the opportunity of shooting a soda pop can out of a AR-15, I don't think anyone's going to turn you down.
No, most definitely not.
If you bleed American, you're definitely doing that.
There
So
you go.
anyway, so that was the third item. The fourth item on the list, which is hands down the most exciting event. I said the cannon was the most exciting. So the individual items, right? 4 teams of 4. The fourth item was jumping jacks.
Oh my goodness, yeah. We were
7 of them.
so back and forth about it of like, should they do push-ups, burpees, jumping jacks? And I think
Yeah.
you eventually like, yeah, just do jumping jacks. It worked. I think
Yeah,
last year we had them do push-ups.
we did. I don't have to get down in the dirt and stuff, which is fine. We're dudes. We can get dirty. It's fine. But
Hmm.
yeah, so it's funny because you have these three really semi fun items with the knives, darts, the cannon, and then you have jumping jacks. The idea is that you have a team that you're supposed to sacrifice. Somebody's got to sacrifice for the team, right, to be able to do one thing that was less interesting, and they actually have to physically exert themselves. The other idea, as we told people ahead of time, was make sure that you do a mix of older and younger people, so that at least you're not a team of 70-year-olds and you can't do jumping jacks.
Yeah.
For the most part, that worked out pretty good. So that was the fourth puzzle individual item that people had to partake in. What was the next shooting stage, Tyler?
Yeah, so the next shooting stage was actually a handgun stage. and Phil very graciously offered. They were the exact same gun, but one had a red dot and the other was gun Amish. So it was
What?
there
Why did we do that this year, Tyler?
because most people are gun Amish.
We had complaints from last year, which is fine. I shouldn't say complaints. What a
No, it was
critical
complaints.
is complaint. You're right.
It was okay because people aren't used to it, and I get it. Like I know it's funny because I spoke with guys afterwards, but every single person, save one, did iron sights, which is fine. That's their choice. That's what they want to do, and this is what we offered. So every single guy, most guys, there were five teams. Yeah, there are five. Yeah, there are five teams of four. Four guys, actually eight guys. No, nine. Right? Four, three, seven. So seven guys chose iron
Yeah,
sights, and one guy did red dot. And the reason why, because he has a red dot on his gun, which he uses a Smith. He carries a Smith and Wesson Shield Plus. We were using Smith and Wesson, just regular, just M and
yeah.
P's.
MMPs.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. They're full size,
2.0.
right?
Yeah, they're full
Yeah, they're
size.
2.0.
Full. They're
Yep.
the full 5 inch barrel and everything.
Gotcha. Yep. And so with that said, we gave them the choice of choosing one. Same thing. 6 rounds. What they had was just three targets. Wasn't far. It was probably like 7 yards, 7 to 10 yards. Nothing too crazy. Oh yeah, I guess it was 50 yards if those were 7 to 10. Yeah, I guess you're right. But either way, they had literally three targets right next to each other, and they just had to do just target transitions, just work. They could go in any order they want, but everyone started from left, worked their way right, 2 shots each, all get try your best to be as accurate as possible. Nothing too crazy, but once again, people got to do it. And then some people were like very meticulous. Others definitely kind of took their time, meticulous, and others went way too fast and got a mic. What guy did that? So it's hilarious that it was not Phil. But the irony is, our youth pastor, who was actually out, just hanging out, just at the swimming pool, because
Yeah,
he
down the
was
hill
done
at
with
swimming
his,
pool.
and he literally heard that go off, and he said, "Mike." So
Called it.
he
He
literally
called your.
called.
He called your mic.
I did. I think I had like four alphas, a Charlie, and a Mike. I went so stinking fast. Looking back, I was like, why did I do that?
Well, the ROs ran the course of fire at the end after the award had been given away, knowing that we were probably going to crush the top score, which we did.
Oh, we did.
Um,
Last year, Phil and I did. This year, we did it
we
again.
had, yeah, we halved it. This year was like 2/3 the time.
Yeah, it
Um,
was. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, we still demolished.
yep.
And looking
Uh,
back, I should have done the AR stage because I would have been. Because of course I'm a pistol shooter first, but I was thinking like, huh? Because
yeah,
I mean, I've shot all those other than the shotgun, but I don't care for shotguns. I've shot every single one of those guns because, of course, these were Phil's guns, and I've shot them all. So
that's true. I
that's why
will
I didn't care.
a couple things on the pistol that I was going to mention. So last year we had a pistol with a red dot on it, and the idea was if you're in the shooting community, Carry Optics Division's been around for like 7 to 8 years, something like that.
Hmm.
And the vast majority of individuals who are firearms enthusiasts that are not like just primarily shotgun or long distance are going to have a firearm with a dot on it, right? At least one. So the idea was like, well, if we get a gun out there with a dot on it, people are going to think it's cool and they're going to shoot it.
Hmm.
The one thing we didn't realize last year was that just because it's cool and different doesn't mean people are going to like it.
Correct.
And it is a whole different, like, again, we're used to doing it. I haven't shot iron sights in a while, but you're used to shooting a dot, and when you're used to it, it's great. But it's a whole different, like you're trying to fish around to find the dot, right? When you're
Yes.
not used to it.
And
So
that I did speak to some guys about that
yeah,
afterwards. There were guys who said, I would have loved to do the dot, but I'm not comfortable with it
right.
yet because they're still use iron sights, but they're in the process of getting a dot. So that's why for them
Yep.
they weren't comfortable with it just yet. I'm like, that's fair, dude. I don't care. So
Yeah,
that's why we
and
had
I
the
was
option.
I'm fortunate enough to have two of basically the same firearm. They're both MMP 2.0s, one just with irons, one with a dot. So they're as close as you could get, same size. I even swapped out the back straps on them because I have larger hands. I'm a taller
I did
individual with
notice that.
proportional hands. So I made sure that they both had the medium sized back strap on them, which sounds like ribs, like I'm going to backstrap ribs or
There you
something.
go.
But just so that they were as equal as possible. The one did have a manual safety on it, the iron sighted did, but we made people aware of that fact. I don't think it was much of a hang up for most people anyway.
There
Plus,
was
only one.
one guy that specifically did ask for, I want, we asked him which gun he wanted. He just said, I want the one with the safety. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's another thing too, is if you're just not familiar with shooting a gun that doesn't have a manual safety on it, then you want that kind of safety blanket, which I used to be, honestly, even when I was in firearms to start with. I always wanted my pistols to have some kind of manual safety on it.
That is fair. And that's, once again, that's perfectly fine. But all right, Phil. So what is the next two puzzles?
Okay, so this year, one of the goals that we had with this whole event was try to make the reset a little bit faster
Mm-hmm.
between competitors. So we added additional ROs, so Tyler wasn't running around like crazy. Which,
Dude, it was insane.
yeah, probably
And
you know
unfortunately, last year I did get flagged a couple of times.
right.
Or
So
if I didn't get flagged, I got close to being flagged.
yeah, and as much as we try to control it, there's still that risk, even if it's a unloaded firearm. Because whenever we have these shooting stages, the amount of shots that the individual takes is what's in the gun itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when after they load it, and as soon as they rack the first round into the firearm, then they shoot their targets. And if they shot all of their bullets, which the RO is tracking, as long as the count was right, the gun would then be empty, and you'd see like the slide lock back or the bolt lock open,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So that was just built-in safety. But one of the ways we wanted to help reset the stages a little bit faster this year was, so last year we had people reassembling a pistol and a rifle. This year we had the whole team, so this was a team event, reloading magazines for us.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing with that is, and we'll get to the shotgun in a bit, but the shotgun did not have a magazine in it. I guess I should say this year, because last year didn't either, but didn't have a magazine because there are magazine fed shotguns. So they had a team of 4 trying to load 6 rounds into 3 different magazines, with 2 of the magazines taking 9mm and one of them taking a rifle round. So the teams had to kind of balance that, count it to make sure that they got the numbers right. Because if you got it wrong, you got points off. And then the nice thing is we had them, because every firearm that was magazine fed had 6 rounds in it. So we had each team reload the 6 rounds into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we were able to reset for the next team to shoot.
As long as they knew how to count.
As long as they knew how to count, which one team did not.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost points.
They
And we
did.
forgot to check it.
And they still
So,
won.
yeah, and they still won. Sorry, I did give them points off because we realized it was a problem, so I made a note of it. But the poor team that had 1 round short ended up getting a freebie. So
Oh yeah, no, whenever there was like a malfunction or like an, I don't want to say a malfunction, but there was an issue that was uncontrollable outside of like the ROs, then we would just give it to them. Like in that case, or we just
mhm.
didn't know. It's fine. We just gave him the hit. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, this isn't for rankings. It's not for classifiers. For guys, have fun to do a hard skill, go shooting, and bond. Like it's not that big of a deal.
James Bond.
I guess, yeah.
Bond. Okay, so that was the pistol, the magazine loading. It was funny because the way that people load is totally different compared to how
Oh,
it was. Like
dude,
some people would count out rounds and hand it to the other person. Somebody was holding it. There were rounds rolling off the table. It was really funny.
that's awesome.
And then the last, I should say last, the next team challenge was a wood splitting challenge. So
Hmm.
the
Our
property that we
most
were,
dangerous
yes, and I
stage
was
of
actually
the
going to
game
get into
of the day.
that, which is funny because if you think about it, we were shooting firearms. So in theory, you would assume that the stages that would be the most dangerous would be the firearms related ones. However, because we had such good controls in place, that was really, it was never an issue. But when you introduce I wouldn't even call it an axe. It was like a wood splitting maul.
It was definitely
And
a wood splitting mall.
yep. And I probably should have thought about that before we got going. In the end, it ended up being fine. But the deal is each team had to split a log in half. And they had 2 logs they had to split in half. And you could only take 1 whack at it at a time.
Hmm.
And they did it with a maul. So if you're familiar with a maul, it is a super heavy axe that has a lot of weight on the back end of it, so that when you hit the piece of wood, the idea is you could, in theory, 1 whack, if you do it right, will split the wood in half.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's also the shape of the thing. Like it's actually
That's
like a
true.
massive
Like a
fat
wedge.
triangle. It's a
Yeah.
wedge, because
Yep.
by doing so, it actually forces the wood to split. So, but yeah. So, would you
Yeah.
like to talk about what happened?
Yeah. So the first team that goes up was the team that my son was on.
Because this event is, yes, it is our men's shooting event, but we invite anyone 13 and up to this event, and we did have a
Yeah,
few teenagers out, which was
we did,
awesome. They did awesome. They were
including
great.
my son. So he goes to take a whack at it, totally misses, it almost takes his leg off. So again, he was smart enough, he caught it and it kind of like stepped out of the side, but it was one of those moments where you're like, you try to control everything so much, but then you're like, and we were like, okay, well, here on out, we're just gonna make sure that we warn everybody again, because I don't split logs. Our fireplace is gas, so
Nice.
I probably should have like asked the guy whose property it was, been like, hey, what possible risks do we have here? And again,
hmm
this is why you sign
But once
a waiver.
exactly, oh, we did. I made sure every single person signed a waiver, whether digital or physical, because even with a mall, for those who don't, and at the same time too, there are other factors, as in like weight. Like for some people, an 8 pound mall, no issues, super light, easy to go. Others,
Right.
that is super heavy, and
Yeah.
especially for no offense, but for a young teenager who
Yeah.
probably has never, if not very rarely, chopped wood or done any of that, and anyone's like, it's heavy, it's hard, like, or someone who doesn't work out, maybe is older, it's hard, and there's definitely a
Yeah.
danger to it.
And my son is at that stage where he is quite tall. He's nearly 6 foot,
That's
but
insane.
he's still young, and he doesn't have his like what I would call your man muscle that you develop like over time, where you just naturally become larger and bigger.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so he's tall enough where like if you use the maul from the like if you lift it over your head and then through, it's going to sweep down by your legs instead of like hitting the dirt because his legs are so long.
Hmm.
So it was kind of
That's
like
a
a
really
perfect
good
storm
point.
there. Fortunately, it ended up being fine. Everyone else is totally fine. But no, it was cool. And it was really fun to see too about how some people you could clearly tell that they split wood before. And we knew that
Hmm.
this was going to be a thing that would give a team an advantage. Again, shooting skill gives you an advantage, knife throwing skills, cannon skills, if that's a
Hmm.
thing. You know, that you build your team, you just if you can hit it one whack, man, I'll tell you, you save a lot of time. Which a lot of teams did. We had one team, actually I think there are two teams, including our team, that were able to split the logs on the first whack for both of
Oh
them.
yeah. Hmm.
So anyway, so that was that, and then from there they went on to the next shooting stage.
Yep. So next shooting stage was a suppressed 4-inch SBR
Yeah,
with
we'll
a
call it
suppressor,
PDW.
essentially.
Yeah,
So it was a double tax stamped item,
it was
which banned the NFA, by the way. Just saying.
repeal. Yeah,
Repeal, ban, I don't even care. Get rid of the GCA too
whatever.
while we're at it. But either way, so, and pretty much every other 3 letter accent organizations, just saying. But
Word.
I digress. I really am going to get us canceled. But, um, so once again, very simple. About this was probably about 10 yards at this point, another 7 to 10 yards out. It probably was 10.
It was 10. We actually walked it off because of the steel.
Yeah. So it was a 10-yard stage, and it was a suppressed scorpion. And essentially, once again, target transitions. But in this case, we had 2 cardboard and 2 steel poppers. So once again, 6 shots, 1 shot to steel, 2 shots on cardboard. Literally, it was popper, cardboard, cardboard, popper. Looking back, what I kind of wish I did was more like you had to do steel first and then cardboard. But essentially, once again, guys kind of just went from left to right. Literally 1 shot steel, 2 shots each of cardboard, and then 1 shot steel again. So, but either way, guys had a blast. But there were some guys, I don't know, that were saying that the zero was off. So
It was funny because I have a few comments on this, and
please,
I'm
use
glad I
your
didn't put
gun.
it.
I want like I
Yeah,
did not get to personally shoot it, so I cannot comment at all.
yeah. So I obviously whenever you introduce a suppressor to a firearm, it can. That's a it's like a pun because it's a can.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
whenever you introduce a suppressor, whisper pickle to a firearm, it can throw off the like the where the shot lands. I'm drawing a blank on the
Hmm.
term. Um, So there's always that risk. Now at that distance, you're really not going to notice that much. I did set the whole thing up, and I personally shot it in advance of like the event into the A zone with six shots, really rapid fire, and they all landed in the A
Hmm.
zone, no problem.
Yeah, no, I remember watching you seeing it.
And then we shot them later, and it was also fine.
Hmm.
I have a few comments on this. So number one, this was one of those
Please.
firearms where, yes, it shoots a 9 millimeter, but most people aren't going to shoot something like this because it was a suppressed short barrel 9 millimeter PDW personal defense weapon. So it's just kind of fun. This was kind of added a little bit last minute. If I had thought about it further, I would have had us order subsonic ammo for it because then it would have really truly been whisper
Oh.
quiet.
Hmm.
So again, this is another thing to change for next year. I think that'll be a lot of fun. The challenge is, you're gonna have to mix up the ammo types, and it just gets kind of be a mess. But for next year, I'm definitely doing subsonics if we're going to use it.
I mean, I guess the question is for subsonic ammo, what grade are you looking at?
147s.
Which I mean, that's we could just get 147s for everything and just call it a day.
That is actually a good point. That's not a bad idea. It costs a little bit more, but because we don't shoot a ton of ammo in this match, and
No,
it's really not overly expensive to
no,
shoot the
it's
match
not.
itself. Yeah.
Because I know for a while,
Um.
I mean, because for a while, at least when I was shooting AAC ammo, I was shooting 147 grains just because that's what I use for carry. I use Federal HST's 147, so I want to
Yeah.
keep everything consistent. Even now, I still do like 124s, so I don't even do 115s. It's rare for me to use 115s.
Right.
And it's just really the price is so negligible. It's really not that big of a deal, especially for that low amount. Because even for this event, what we have 12 rounds per squad, and there's five of them, so we went through
Right.
60 rounds max. We didn't even
Yeah.
go through 100 rounds. That's two boxes. That's a box and a half.
Yeah, and you have to buy specifically like subsonic ammo, but even if it was, $20 a box, that's really not. It's
Exactly.
fine.
No.
Okay, so now to my point about the zero. So then one of the guys was like, "Hey, shoot from the irons because I have a pair of irons that are below the red dot, and they came with actually my other Scorpion I own two, and you can actually see through the irons and see through the riser underneath. So it's really cool
Hmm.
because you don't actually have to take off the optic to see through to shoot the irons. So he's like, "Don't shoot the optic; it's off. Shoot the irons." And I'm like, "Dude, I know this is on." Like, and I didn't say anything because we're in the middle of the match.
Yep.
I found out later from somebody, I forget who told me, that people were shooting the suppressed firearm and they were grabbing the suppressor while they were shooting it.
They were not.
That's not what I was told. And it was actually, it was Isaac. So I would be inclined to believe what he said. Are you saying they are not, like, as in you didn't see anybody do it, or as in like you can't
No,
believe that?
I
Okay.
can't believe it. No, 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 no.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no. I believe you. I trust you, but I'm just. It was my
Yeah,
reaction. Is more.
okay.
I
I see what you're saying. I
cannot
got it. I
believe
got it.
that.
I was
My bad.
like,
My
is
bad.
he
My bad. No,
saying?
no, no.
Okay. No, no, you're good. Okay. Anyway, so all that to say, I immediately went and like, yeah, I was at church on Sunday because I asked. I said, yeah, they're grabbing onto the suppressor while they were shooting it. So I immediately went and checked my suppressor for baffle strikes. So if you're not familiar with suppressors,
No.
you if you like if it's not centered on the actual, like, the rifling is not properly cut, and you go to attach the suppressor, or it's the mount hub, in this case mine was tri-lug, is not properly centered, you could actually get baffle strikes. Now typically they're drilled out, the baffles are a little bit wider than the actual bullet itself, and they actually take into consideration the weight of a suppressor, and there's a little bit of play in there that allows you to consider the fact that you may have some challenges there. So fortunately, there were no baffle strikes at
Thank
all.
goodness.
But if you were to grab onto that, you would also be flexing the barrel. Now, I'm not saying it's enough to cause it to like be off a little bit. That's what my thought was, is they were grabbing the suppressor. Now, people are probably wondering, how are they grabbing the suppressor and not burning themselves? So I knew that we had newbies shooting a suppressor, and we told them it was suppressed. And I it says it is a rifle. It's an SBR. It's tax stamped. I actually have a vertical foregrip that is really prominent on the front of the thing to grab. But
Hmm.
again, some people really just want to grab the suppressor. But I actually have a like a suppressor coat on it. And like, so that when you shoot it, if you accidentally touch, it's not going to burn you. right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put that on there intentionally because I didn't want anybody to get burned. So I don't know if they just thought that it was like a wrap, like the suppressor wrap was a wrap around like like the handguard of the gun. But
Mm-hmm.
looking at the thing, you can, I don't know.
That's
This is again,
crazy,
this
dude.
goes back to the original thing we talked about where these people are just not, they're not familiar with this, and that's fine. And it's nothing against them. It's just
No. If
don't
they
know.
don't know, they don't know.
Right. So
That's
again, it was one of those things where
insane.
you have to think about those things. And I'm glad I ended up putting the suppressor cover on it
Mm-hmm.
because I potentially somebody could burn themselves. Now they're only shooting 6 rounds, and it's not really going to heat up that fast, and it's only 9 millimeter. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I thought that was really funny,
That's
and I
wild.
think that's where we had our accuracy issues
That's insane to me.
because
But
I grabbed it, and you can move, you can flex like the whole thing
oh
if you
yeah.
like grab onto it.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. Thankfully, you don't have a baffle strike in that thing.
Yeah,
That would
right.
suck.
Next year we're gonna give specific instruction not to grab onto the suppressor.
Yeah, no kidding. Or
It's a
tell
pain.
the RO to just say stop if they see that.
Yeah, and that's the other challenge too. Is we shot all so far all three of the firearms we talked about were all mine. I have
Mm-hmm.
a little bit larger collection than most, and a little bit more interesting collection than most. No offense to you, Tyler. You have
Dude,
you have very run of the mill firearms.
I am a very, and that's the thing. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I have everything. I guess other than a hunting rifle, I have everything I need, and I'm very happy with what I have.
right. So I was running the puzzles, so I could not actually be there with the ROs. So it's just one of the things you think about, like oh yeah, this is like a no brainer, but then you don't realize who you're working with, and the ROs may not have shot something similar before, or they've not shot with a suppressor. They don't know you're not supposed to grab on to the suppressor.
The
It's just
suppressor, yeah,
yeah, just it's fine.
yeah,
Anyway, so all that said, that was my insights, Tyler.
that's wild. But all right, well, why don't you tell us about our last two puzzles then?
Okay, so last two puzzles that we had, and this was actually more of a true puzzle, was they had three logic puzzles that were math problems basically that you had to solve, and they were different types of math problems. So like, hey, I have a basket full of apples. If I remove two and give them to Johnny, and Johnny eats two, that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to solve them, and the idea was you'd solve them, and then you could try it on a padlock that you could use to unlock a ammo can, and inside the ammo can was another magazine with a blank in it and a can, so you could shoot the cannon again off the clock.
I
However,
didn't realize there was a padlock.
yes, however,
I legit, because of course the ROs did it afterwards. Like I remember
yep,
now. I thought that you just had it because you just wanted to lock your ammo. I was like, oh, cool.
yeah,
That's
no,
so funny.
no. However, I needed logic puzzles, and it was late at night when I was finishing this up, and I was like, hey, I'll have ChatGPT do this for me. ChatGPT does not do a great job with logic puzzles,
The
and
numbers were wrong, weren't they? Or
the
the
numbers were
answers?
wrong.
Oh
And it was funny because it
no.
was about like going from the first floor, and the elevator goes up 3 floors. So if you're on the first floor and it goes up 3 floors,
Goes to four.
does it go to the third floor or the fourth floor?
It goes to the fourth floor.
So it goes to the fourth floor.
Yeah.
But ChatGPT thinks it goes to the third floor. So the number was off by one. And
Mm.
fortunately I realized it really quickly when I was looking at the logic puzzle, or at the puzzle as the person was solving it. And the individual that was solving it was a dentist. So they're not saying all dentists are smart, but I feel like you kind of have to be if
He's
you're going to be a
pretty
dentist.
darn smart.
This
Hmm.
dentist is quite smart.
Oh
So
yeah, he is, and he is very meticulous, and he is good with
yes.
numbers.
So when he got the number, I immediately had to move on because I was like, clearly I looked at the puzzle. I'm like, I can see how he read it that way. So ironically, one team actually got the number. The number was 3. Actually, one team got 3.
Hmm.
So they actually read it as going up 3 floors from
Yeah, I
the
was about to
first
say
floor. One, two, three.
because even when the
Yeah.
ROs did it, like the first one for some reason my brain just couldn't wrap. It was like that whole Apple thing. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. But the elevator one, I was like just instant like, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure I probably came to the conclusion of what Jason did, what the
Yeah. I
dentist did
think
as
you
well.
actually called it out that this was potentially misleading. So
Hmm.
for teams, they were the first team. Fortunately, they didn't lose any time on it. For every other team, I gave them credit if they got 4 or 3 on the
Oh,
answer.
for sure. Hmm.
Yep. And then I had to move on. Anyway, so that was
I'm actually curious because actually I have our score sheet. So I don't know why I brought it with me. I did just in case. I can tell you what. Actually, no, I don't because I wrote on the other one, didn't I? So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's
Oh
okay.
man, never mind. I don't have it.
Uh,
I got
so
so
anyway, the idea
excited.
was you would unlock the ammo can, and it would be again the blank with the can. So then whoever did jumping jacks, because they had to make the sacrifice to the jumping jacks, would off the clock have an opportunity to shoot the can.
Hmm.
It didn't work that way because the puzzle was wrong, and then we were trying to get teams through. And this is one of those things like good intentions. We were trying to get people through faster, and I don't want people like fiddling around with the lock. So we told everybody at the end when everyone was done, send the person over that whoever you want to shoot the cannon, which typically was the person doing jumping jacks, that they could come over and they could shoot the cannon.
That makes sense. Okay, I was
Which again,
curious
I'm
to why
not
you did. That
stuttering.
makes
It's the
sense.
cannon.
That's so funny. Just like
Yeah,
our one of our guests from a while back, where we thought he had a list, but apparently he doesn't.
yeah. It was just a recording tool that he was using.
That was so funny, man.
Okay, for the final quote unquote puzzle, because again there were a lot more puzzles last year, so we just
Hmm.
referred to these as the puzzles. Last year we had people sing the national anthem, which is awesome. So like if you think about a bunch of dudes, like, and they have to turn and they have to sing to the other guys that are waiting in line to get their turn.
Hmm.
And it just, there's something about that just like, it's both beautiful and hilarious at the same time.
It really
So
is.
this year we had them sing 2 choruses of Amazing Grace. And this is where people also gained it, because
Oh, straight up.
some teams sang it. It was funny because one of the guys on one of the teams who was musical sang it correctly. The other teams mostly sang it really fast.
Oh yeah, I
If
know.
I
The
was okay
RO
with
team,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
The RO team, we sped right through it.
Oh yeah, and I was okay with that, and it just gives an opportunity people to think outside the box, right?
Hmm.
But maybe doing it again. If I was going to make them sing, I would probably have them sing at the correct cadence. That's
Got
just
it.
assuming
Hmm.
everybody knows the correct cadence to sing it
It's
at.
Amazing Grace, dude. It is probably
I know.
the most popular Christian hymn out there.
Yes, and I almost had them sing like In Sync or Backstreet Boys.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen next year. But I try
Hmm.
to do something either like that's a really well known, like national like theme, like national anthem, and then or have them do something that's you know a,
Have them do the Pledge of
a,
Allegiance next year with an actual
yeah.
flag.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Man,
Like, look, it's
guess
our
I love this.
pledge. Don't you dare speed through this.
All right, so that was the last challenge slash puzzle. What was the last shooting stage, Tyler?
It was a shotgun, the N.
Eh, This was this was not my shotgun, though. I do wish I owned an over under.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
I
why
brought my.
why did we have an over under this year, Tyler?
Dude, I don't even know what an over under is.
Oh
I
come
still
on!
don't.
It's 2 barrels. It's 1 barrel over the other barrel.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes, my
See,
gosh.
this is what I mean. Like, shotguns.
You
Like,
run a shooting podcast. You should know this.
I don't know. It's so funny because like I'm a pastor too, and I remember when I first started working at the church, there was a kid who was like, asked me a question, Mr. Tyler, do you know about this? And I'm like, dude, I don't even know. It's like, but you work at the church, shouldn't you know everything? I'm like, child, you've been a Christian longer than I have.
That's
Like,
fair.
whoa. But other than that, I just started getting into guns like 5 years ago, Phil. Half
Yeah,
a decade ago.
5 years ago. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But because people were complaining about a semi-automatic
With a
red
dot.
dotted shotgun last year.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
complaint. Nah, they were. Yeah, it's like this is why I kept missing. I'm like, all right, fine. Here you go. I did bring my Mossberg Maverick 88 pump action
Yep.
shotgun just in case as well. So I was ready. I had it ready to go, but didn't work out, and that's perfectly fine. Or
Yeah.
that was the backup, so I guess it did work out. I guess that's a better way to put it.
Right.
So it was
Next
literally
year.
just a
Go ahead.
skeet thrower and just shoot one clay at a time. Nice and simple, nothing too crazy.
Yep. And this was another instance where it's nice to have additional ROs, because when you're loading the skeet thrower,
Yes.
because it's like to the side of the individual that's shooting, your back or your side is like to the individual. And then in this case, if you have an RO, they can keep track of where the muzzle is on the shotgun. Because you
Yes.
could say, don't touch it until I load it, but you still have to pull the string at some point to launch it.
Yes.
So again, this is really nice to have
And
additional
that was the
RO.
stage where I almost got flagged or have gotten flagged last year,
Yes.
which is
Yep.
why it was nice to have extra guys. I will admit it was really nice this year being able to just walk around the clipboard. It was so nice because last year it literally because Phil was doing all the puzzle stages, I'm ROing all the shooting stages. It was just insane. And then
Yeah.
eventually one of our other buddies who is also a shooter was like, "You need help?" I'm like, "Please." So we had a
Yep.
blast overall.
Yeah. So the shotgun was I don't think I actually shot it. It's too bad. I
Oh,
think I pulled
really?
the trigger on it just to figure out how the safety mechanism worked on it,
That makes
but
sense.
I don't think I ever shot the thing. It was nice. It worked really well, and if you're familiar with, again, there's a lot of different shooting sports in the shooting community. We obviously tend to focus more on the action shooting sports, but there are plenty of people who shoot clays. So that is why we introduced the clays to it, because a lot of guys that don't necessarily shoot pistols, rifles, or PDWs do shoot shotguns, and there's a lot of familiarity with it, whether it's because it was up until maybe the advent of the 450 Bushmaster 350 Legend. The shotgun in Michigan was probably the number one
Oh yeah.
hunting implement, probably still is, just because you can shoot whatever you want from it, whether it's slugs for whitetail or if you're shooting birdshot for birds, right? So
hmm
a lot of familiarity with it, even if you're not familiar with the other firearms. Even though Tyler and I may not be as much, so we wanted to take into consideration the roots of the sport. And most people that do shoot clays typically shoot an over under, and they are shooting without an optical sight,
hmm
and gets people complained.
yeah, no, everyone had a blast, but everyone had a blast
Yeah,
this year. And this year, we were
yeah,
done by dinner. It was
we were.
awesome.
It was 5 teams this year. Whipped through it. It was a lot faster reset
hmm
too.
Yeah,
I think
no, it
honestly, I
really
think the
worked out.
times were probably roughly the same, maybe a little bit shorter this time around, but the reset was significantly
Agreed.
faster.
Reset was much quicker.
Yep.
So it definitely worked out really well having more ROs. I think next year, I think really all we will need is probably two ROs for the shooting stages.
Yep.
And then I can be like, I was just
A
CRO the whole
CRO.
time.
Yeah.
And then two people for puzzles because I didn't need three ROs, truthfully.
Yeah,
So,
and I will say, because I did get hung up on a few things resetting it, and things like the round count being wrong on the magazine. I thought I had checked it, but there was a chance I was just running around trying to get enough done to get the next team on that I missed it. Eventually, one of the gentlemen that was with us as an RO actually came to start helping reset, and that actually
hmm
helped a ton.
I
So
know it would be nice, like if we just had maybe like two shooting ROs, ICRO, and then two
yeah.
people of puzzles, and then you can be CPO, Chief
No,
Puzzle
I think
Officer.
we'd be okay with just two of us on the
I
puzzle team.
know, but it'll be nice for this. Well,
Yeah,
this way you can troubleshoot things as well.
that's true.
That's kind of my reasoning behind that. So, and also too,
Yep.
if you needed to switch with me or take, because you, especially if you use your firearms again, like that stuff better than I, because it's your guns. So,
Yeah,
but
it's
either
true.
way, no big deal. So, but all that to say, we had a blast. It was awesome, and we ended up grilling burgers and hot dogs as well. There was a swimming pool for guys to swim at. I was gonna bring yard games, but honestly, I forgot. But truthfully, the majority of the guys ended up just staying and watching and just hanging out. So the guys had a blast. There was probably about 25, 30 dudes this year. I think last year it was probably more like 30 to 40, but
Yeah.
it was still a ton of fun. Guys had a blast. I had a bunch of text messages, and some people kind of came up to me afterwards just saying thank you. So, I mean, overall, it was a win. So, yeah.
No, it was really good. I think the person that let us use their property. Um, if you're doing something like this, you're never going to be able to do this at even an outdoor gun range, just because there's a lot going on, right?
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, like, we know the property owner, they trusted us to make sure things were safe. We showed them what we were doing, but there's no way a traditional
No,
like range would ever let you do something like this. So
no.
having someone's property, you can do a lot different. We were very respectful of like the direction we were shooting. Fortunately, he's got like a natural valley, so we shot everything down
Yes.
into a valley where you could where the rounds landed were on a section of the valley that went up that was still on his property. So you don't have to worry about as much. Even beyond that, you start taking into consideration there's a lot of public land that's back there. And there's just nothing back there other than trees. But again, you don't want to rely on that. So again, having a natural berm was really good. And we set
Yes,
things up so that you'd have to really make a big mistake to launch around above the berm.
exactly.
Yeah,
But once again, it was really nice having extra ROs to just focus on that and just make sure everyone was safe and reduce any negligence as possible. So,
yep,
had a blast. You have any closing
yeah.
thoughts?
That honestly, that's probably my closing thoughts on the event. Do you have any additional closing thoughts, Tyler?
I don't. So, what's your dad advice then?
Dang it! See,
Should have got into it, man.
I knew you asked me because I was like, I can't not ask him if he has closing thoughts. No, my dad advice actually is directly related to this, and I would even say this goes beyond dad advice to more life advice for all individuals. This goes beyond again, it's just dad advice. I'm not sure I resaid that twice, but the concept of continuous improvement. So one thing that
Mm-hmm.
Tyler and I really talked about this year is we had never done something like this last year, right? So the thing we always take into consideration, again, we talked about a lot right off the bat, was being safe while also being fun.
Yes.
So now that we had one of these under our belt, we realized where the time consuming parts of the event were. There were some people like, hey, there was a lot of waiting around. What can we do between? Or how do we make this a little bit more interesting for those who are watching? So we took it to heart, and you got to look at I wouldn't necessarily call them like constructive criticism. I guess I would use. You have to accept the fact that you can always be better,
Oh yeah.
right? So we took that to heart, and I think we really did a good job with that. So whenever you're thinking about those things, always try to get incrementally better the next year, because whether it's something you're trying to do in your personal life, something in your relationship you're trying to improve, whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
not only does it make you feel good when it happens and everything works better, or you improve your whatever it is, that it also makes life a lot easier and better for other individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're like an evil villain, don't try to get incrementally better.
Yeah. No kidding.
If you're doing good things, try to get incrementally better. So again, I think that's something we took to heart, and you and I talked about it going into this event. How can we improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we make things a little bit better, make things more fun? And I think we definitely succeeded in that regard.
I agree. I guess in addition to that, this is not my life advice, but it would be in addition to kind of like what you're talking about with constructive criticism. It's being able to not take that personally, because it is really, I know for me, it's real. I can take that really hard whenever people give me suggestions or constructive criticism, or like tell me, it's like, hey, like, why'd you do it that way? Because for me, like, I give 110% to everything that I do. So
That's awesome.
sometimes you know what I mean? But
Mm,
because of that, like, I can take things personally because, like, well, I worked my butt off on this, but at the same time, I'm also understand realizing like most people genuinely are just like, hey, like, have you thought of this? Or for those who are attacking me, usually they're not attacking me; they're just upset about something else and they're just projecting it on me. But whether they are or not, it's my responsibility in the way that I react to it. And just not take it personally. It's like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Thanks. Or it's like, you know what? I did think about that, but this is why we did it this way. Or be like,
yeah,
whatever. No, I don't care. So, and
a
that's
lot.
okay.
A lot of it is too is being open,
Oh yeah.
even before you receive the feedback, or the constructive criticism. Being open to knowing that you can do better, and then
Hmm.
once you are mentally open to the improvement, when somebody does make a suggestion, um, you can be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now,
Hmm.
caveat: just because somebody gives you feedback or constructive criticism does not always mean that they are correct,
Correct. Exactly.
because people have their personal opinions, people have biases. So you have to weigh everything, right? So with like this kind of event that we had where we knew things were taking a little bit too long, that's an easy one, right? Like
Hmm.
clearly this is something we can improve. But if somebody's like, you need to be less funny, don't necessarily need to be less funny, because that's your personality, that's who you are, right?
Exactly.
Maybe they're jealous because you're not funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, wrapping that thought up, moving on to Tyler's life advice. What do you got for us, buddy?
So, like I said, like I hinted or alluded in the beginning of the episode, my life advice is related to plumbing. So a few weeks ago, I went to go and visit my girlfriend's parents. We went down to a different state to visit them. And before we left, I went to go turn on my dishwasher, and my dishwasher would not turn on. And it's like 5 in the morning. I need to get to the airport. I'm like, whatever, I'll deal with this when I get back. I get back, I forget about it, and I'm like, snap. I did a bunch of research. Come to find out, I came to a conclusion that I thought that my control panel, the chip got wet. So one YouTube video said that I could actually take the chip off and then put it in the oven to dehydrate it to get all the water out, which is insane to me that I can do. And I tried to do that, and guess what I did, Phil?
You burned your house down.
I snapped the chip as I was taking it
Oh,
out
yeah.
because it's literally just glued into the control panel
Yeah.
because it's so thin.
That's
So
legit.
I know. So I snap it, and then I order the part online. Come to find out, I ordered the wrong part,
Oh,
and yep, because I didn't check it correctly, I had to return it. They had a 5% restock fee, and they made me pay
ouch.
shipping.
Oh,
So I know, right? So we've been very spoiled with Amazon. So
yes, we have.
finally, I find it on eBay, a used part for like $100, and I find it, I get it, I install it, wouldn't turn on, and I am frustrated, dude. This was like Tuesday. This was literally just a couple days ago. I was just
Mm.
ticked. I was so mad. I'm like, why is this not working? I'm like, just I've got the door of my dishwasher off, and I remember my girlfriend calling me, and like we're talking about each other's days, and then I literally got to a point, Phil, mid
Mhm.
conversation, and I'm just like, I can't do this right now.
Mm.
And she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "It's this stinking dishwasher,"
Mhm.
because I was in the middle of doing it. So then I literally had to take a pause. Like it is very Phil, you know me. Like, have you ever seen me mad before? Like actually like livid before?
I don't think so.
You see me
'Cause
upset, but I
I've
don't
seen
think
you
you
upset. I don't think you've seen you like angry.
yeah. And I've only seen you angry once. Like
Yeah.
I was like at that point when I saw you angry. Like I was so mad. And I at that point I just realized I just needed to take it's okay to just take a step. It's important, not just okay, it is important to take a step away from things and just refresh and get help. So legit I called, so I took like 10 minutes after I just hung up. I was like, "Hey, I'll just call you later." Hung up, and then we chatted. I called her again 10 minutes later. I was just like, "I need food." I was so angry, dude.
Food
I
does
think
fix a lot of problems, though. Is that your
it
dad advice? That
does.
food fixes
Dude,
problems.
food fixes problems. Take a break. It's okay. Get help. I was so at this point, like probably should have, but don't get me wrong. Like my dishwasher works now. There's still a couple
Oh,
things I need to do, but I was
yeah.
able to fix the dishwasher after 3 weeks of trying.
You gotta. I know we're at the end of the podcast and people can stop listening if they want, but you got what was the fix?
I was right. It was a control board. It was a control
Oh,
panel.
did you forget to turn the power back on?
I I skipped a lot of parts of the story, but long story short, the dishwasher, because I was like pulling it out of underneath the shelf when it wasn't working originally, it was hardwired in. One of the wires got loose.
Yeah.
So,
We know we call that in the networking world.
hmm,
It's a physical layer problem.
dude.
There are 7 layers of the OSI model, which I will not get into, but 90% of the time, it's a physical layer problem.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, wire is
So,
unplugged. Yeah.
yep, wire unplugged. But I mean, very confident it was a control board because like it
Oh, originally, yeah.
yeah, originally, but then of course as cuz I pulled it out because of dude, the way that everything is just all set up in there is so dumb. The way that the plumbing is wired like or ran, it's through a tiny little hole. Everything's jammed. Like it's hardwired at the bottom, yes, but it's in the middle, so it's so weird, man. So, but either way, all that to say, don't give up. There are times it is important to just learn, fix it yourself. It's like Phil said too. I guess what you said, it really is just trying to get better at things little by little. Learn how to take a break. I literally gave like 6 different advices, but all that to say, my dishwasher works now, and I feel way better.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on the grams of Insta. We're on YouTube as well. Obviously, you're listening to podcasts, so you could be listening. I guess you could listen to this on YouTube. That's fine. But you can also listen on your favorite podcast platform. You can also email us at podcast@acceptableaccuracy.com. If you have any comments, did I miss anything, Tyler?
Like us on Facebook too.
Oh, that's right. We're on Facebook now for you boomers.
I know, right? For Phil's parents, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think they know I have a podcast.
No, listen, nor do my parents, so it's all good.
That's fair.
Oh man. Well, seriously, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you guys in the next episode.